Welcome back, everybody, and thank you for joining me in part 8 of how to build a VR space game. In the last video, what we did was we got our enemy AI moving around and stuff like that, and we also got it to where he can die. In this video, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be setting up our enemies shooting, and we're going to make it so that we can die from our enemies shooting us. So first off, what you're going to want to do is go ahead and add a health component to your astronaut. Just add the health script there and change the health to whatever you want it to be. I'm going to change it to 500. That way when we test this out, we don't die right away. So we're going to make because we're going to have our our enemy shooting us, so we're going to set a damage and stuff like that. We just don't want them to die in like 5 shots. That way we can actually test this out. Alright, now that we got our health component added there, let's go ahead and let's go to our enemy's AI script. Open up the AI. And we're going to start adding some shooting functions here. But first off, before we start adding any functions, let's start adding some parameters here. So first we're going to add a public float, and that's going to be our fire rate. And then we're going to add another float, and that's going to be our timer. And what we're going to do is we're going to create a shooting function. And what we're going to do first, let's go ahead and let's change a little bit right here. Right here you can see it says if our distance is greater than our minimum distance, then we're going to be going towards our player, and if it's less than the minimum distance, we're going to be shooting the player. So let's just copy the shooting and paste it right there, and then we'll change it to false. That way if we're farther than that distance, we won't be shooting, because right now what it's going to do is if we left it like that, then it'll have him shoot when he gets close enough, but when he gets farther, then he'll still keep shooting. So we want him to eventually stop shooting when he gets to a certain distance. Alright, so now he shouldn't be shooting there. What we're going to do here, we're going to add another function here. We're going to call it shooting. And then we're going to say, we're going to add some raycast physics functions here. So first off, let's get a raycast hit. And we're going to call that hit. And then we're going to say if physics.raycast, and then we're going to want to get a position to shoot from. So we're going to go up here and we're going to say public transform shoot position. And then we're going to be shooting from our shoot position. So go back into the shooting function, physics.raycast, and we're going to shoot from our shoot position. So shoot position, and then we're going to go transform.forward. And then we're going to get our hit, so we're going to type in out hit, and then the distance, and then the distance, we're just going to have that as an infinite distance, so just put mathf.infinity, and then that should be good there. And then what we're going to say is if our hit collider is not equal to null, and then also if our hit collider's name is equal to Astro, which is what I named my astronaut, so just make sure to put the name of your astronaut game object there. And what we're going to say is if we shoot a raycast and it hits a collider, it's going to check if its name is Astro, and if its name is Astro, then what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to get the collider's health component. So hit collider.get component, and we're going to get health, and we're going to get the health, and then we're going to minus let's go ahead and let's add a float up here, and let's call it damage, public float damage, and then we're going to take that away from the player's health. So right now what that should be doing is it should be shooting our player and taking health away. And then let's create a debug here so that we can see it in the console. So debug.log, and then we'll say player was shot and has, and then we're going to just get this health component again, copy that, paste it here, and it has health, and then we're going to put a toString afterwards on there. That way it'll convert it to a string. And then we're going to also add another string here, and we're going to say health left. Whoops, health left. Alright, and so pretty much what we're saying is the player was hit and it's going to get the amount of health left. So let's go ahead and save that. And let's see how that's working for now. Let's make sure we don't have any errors here. What does it say? I can't convert a type transform to vector 3. Oh, did I forget? Yep, we sure did. Right here where it says shoot position, change it to shoot position dot position. I always get confused by putting the position on there. I always assume that it gets the position, but it's not. It's only getting the transform. So we need the position of that transform. Alright, now it should be working just fine. And then let's go ahead and let's play it and let's see how it's working. Let's go up to the enemy here. And let's see, it doesn't look like he's hitting us or anything. Oh, that's because we didn't add a shoot position here. Go into your robot's gun, and then just create an empty game object and call it shoot or shoot position or something, and send it at the set it at the end of the barrel, and have it facing forward. And then go into your AI and just set that as your shoot position. Then we want to change our fire rate to something like 0.5, and then the damage, I'm going to change it to like 15 or 10. And then now we can go ahead and play it, and it should be working. Alright, let's get closer. And yeah, he still doesn't seem to be shooting us. Let me look at the player's health here. Astronaut's health is at 500, and the robot, let's see, the damage 10, speed 5, all that good stuff. And yeah, he doesn't seem to be shooting us. Oh, I think the reason why that is because we didn't even put the shooting function in here. So what we're gonna do is right here, we're gonna say if shooting, then do the shooting function. Oops, shooting. Alright, so yeah, now that should be working. Definitely got to add that shooting function in there. Oh, there was one more thing we wanted to change here. So, because otherwise the fire rate here won't be. The fire rate isn't taking any effect right now. So what we're gonna say is if shooting is true, then if timer, well, first off, we're gonna want to make our timer add some time on here. So timer plus equals time dot delta time, and what we're gonna say is if timer is greater than fire rate, then we'll shoot. And then in our shoot, we're gonna want to change the timer back to 0 after we've shot. That way it'll just keep on looping from 0 to fire rate over and over, and then once it gets above fire rate, it's gonna shoot and then go back to 0. And one more thing we also want to do is if our distance is further than the shooting distance, the minimum distance, then we're gonna want to set the timer to fire rate. That way it doesn't have to wait for the timer to go from 0 to fire rate once if he's not shooting. So what we're gonna do here is we'll go under there and we'll put timer equals fire rate, and then that should be fine. So now let's go ahead and test it out, and it should definitely be working this time. Hopefully. Let's test it out. Let's go ahead. I'm gonna click onto my astronaut player, that way I can look at his health and make sure it's going down and stuff like that. See, the health is at 500. Let's get up close, and yeah, you can even see it's taking our health away. He's shooting us and our health is getting lower and lower. So our enemy is now working. He's now able to kill us. If I were to change this down to like 10, then I will die. Yep, there we go. I'm dying. So I'm going to move. I'm going to try to shoot him. Where did he go? There he is. I'm going to try to shoot him and see. You know what? Yeah, it doesn't seem like... you can tell that I'm shooting and stuff like that, but you can't really tell on the screen whether you're shooting or not. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a flash for our gun. So go ahead and just create a plane. As a matter of fact, I think I have it already set up. Yep, I do have it already set up. I'm going to bring my flash in here. I'm just going to show you what it is. What I did was here, let's just create a plane really fast just so I can show you what I did here. Get the plane. I'm going to rotate it 90 degrees or something like that. And all I did was I created a new material, and here, let me go ahead and get the flash here. I created a new material, and I set the shader to particle additive, and then I set this texture here, which you can find in the link below, and I just put that on there, and I just changed the colors, or I didn't really change the color very much, but you can change it if you like. And then with that plane, as a matter of fact, let me get this plane out of here, since I'm showing you by this way. I don't need this plane anymore. And what I did was I got the plane, and I duplicated it, over and over and over again. I just changed the rotations of them. That way it'll look like a 3D object instead of just a flat plane. It's a decent 3D object. All right. And then once you've got that made, go ahead and save it as a prefab. And then what we're going to want to do now is we're going to go into our shooting script, and then we're going to add a game object here, public game object flash. And then what we're going to say is on our flash, we're going to want to instantiate the game object. So instantiate flash at our, you know what, we're probably going to have to make a new position, because our shoot position is not the same as our flash position. This shoot position comes from our camera, because we want to be able to shoot where the crosshair is. But our flash position is going to be coming from our the barrel of our game objects. Just create a transform there called flash position, and then just put that in here. So flash position, and then the rotation, we can just flash position dot position. Make sure to put dot position in there. And then the rotation will just keep it as the original rotation of the game object. So quaternion.identity. And that should be instantiating a flash. Oh, one more thing with your flash. You want to create a new script called kill after time. It's a really simple script. And add that onto your flash. And then what you're going to do is create two floats. One is going to be public, which is the time that you want it to die afterwards. The first one is going to be the timer, which is going to be increasing on the update. Here you can see timer plus equals time dot delta time, and if timer is greater than our specified time, then we're going to destroy that game object. Alright, and that'll just make it so that our flash will die after 0.1 seconds, a tenth of a second. That way we don't have a flash just hanging around there, even though we're not shooting anymore. Alright, so go ahead and get into the gun there, and let's see, did I save it? I'm not sure if I saved it or not. Let me go into my shoot script here. I did not save my shoot script, so save your shoot script, and then wait for it to update, and then add the flash into the flash part once it shows up here. Alright, add the flash there, and then create a flash position at the barrel of your gun, right at the end of the barrel there, just as we did with our AI for our shoot position. Just put the flash position in that exact same spot and set that there. And yeah, now our flash should be going. Should be good. Let's test it out. And yeah, there you go. Now we have a flash. It's kind of a big flash. You could change the size if you want to, but I'm okay with it right now. And then let's go ahead and let's add a flash to our enemy too. So go into your AI, then just do the exact same things we just did with our player here, except for we don't need to create a flash position. We just need to create the flash game object itself. So public game object flash, and then in our shooting function here, we're gonna want to say instantiate flash from our shoot position, so shoot position dot position, and then quaternion dot identity, so that we can just keep the rotation the same as it is when we first made the prefab there. All right. So now we should be instantiating the flash from our enemy too. Let's go ahead and look at it. Now we can tell when our enemy is shooting, and we can tell when we're shooting, and it just creates a really nice effect to the game. Alright, so you can see I'm shooting, and let's get up to our player, or our enemy here, and oh, we didn't set the flash. Whoops, let's go there and set the flash really quick. Flash, there we go, nice and easy. Now let's test it out. And let's come up, and you can actually see the flash from a distance there. He is in fact shooting at us. And you can see he keeps on moving towards us when his distance has gotten, or it's not that he's moving towards us, it's that the force, his rigid body isn't having a force to stop him when he gets to that certain distance. So what we're gonna do is go to our AI, and we're gonna create something here. Well, first off, we don't want him to keep on going really, really fast. We created this max speed float, but we never use it. So what we're gonna do is here, if our distance is greater than the minimum distance, we want him to move towards our character, but we're gonna say if our rigid body dot velocity dot magnitude is less than max speed, then we want it to move towards us. Otherwise, we don't want to add any more force. And then also here where it says our shooting, if shooting is true, then we want to do the shooting. And then also our rigid body, we want our rigid body to add a force that goes in the negative direction of the magnitude. So negative RB dot velocity, not magnitude, velocity, that's what I meant to say. And what that's going to do is it's going to add a force in the direction, in the opposite direction that our player is moving, or that our enemy is moving. That way he'll stop. It's going to add it in the opposite direction at that exact same force of movement. So let's go ahead and test it out, and let's see how our enemy is looking now. And you know what? He's still not stopping. Let's see here. Yeah, you can see he's not stopping once he gets to that certain distance. He should be adding a force that goes backwards when he gets close enough. So let's see here. Let's just take that out of there. So what we have is, if our distance is farther than the shooting distance, then we want him to add the force as long as our speed isn't as high as max speed. And then what we want to do is, if our distance is close enough, then we want him to add a force going backwards. That way he could, or go in the opposite direction he's going. That way he can stop. So let's I moved that from if shooting down to the distance part. So let's go ahead and let's save that, and let's see if it's working. And if it's not working, we can just mess with that later, because I really don't want to make this a really, really long video. I think it's already getting quite long. So let's go ahead and test that out, and let's see how our enemy is moving. Let's see if he's moving right or not, if he's stopping when he should be stopping. And yeah, it looks like he's actually stopping this time. He stopped. He didn't keep on going towards us. So let's go ahead and let's move back further, and then let's see if is he even moving towards us. I can't tell. What is his minimum distance? Let's change the minimum distance to like 10 or something, just to make it a little lower. And oh, he killed me. Whoops. So let's see. Yeah, you can see he's moving a little bit, but it doesn't seem like, oh man, he's killing me way too fast. See, that's why I set my health up really fast, really high at the beginning. Let me go ahead and let me change the player's health to like 1,000 or something, just so I don't keep on dying right away. 10,000. There we go. And then let's go further from our player here, or from our enemy. And yeah, you can see he's moving towards us, but when he gets to that certain distance, he starts to stop. And yeah, I really like that. Maybe instead of having the original the velocity, let's multiply that by like, I don't know, 1.5, just to make it stop a little faster. And yeah, so now that that's working, I think we're gonna actually make this the end of this video. In the next video, what we're gonna do is we're gonna add a health bar to our player. That way we can see where his health is at. And yeah, I think that might be, it depends. It's gonna depend on how long I want that video to be, whether I'm gonna add anything else, because the UI for the health, it might take quite a while, so that might be all that we do in the next video. And then we're gonna also make it so that our health refills after a certain amount of time. We're gonna add a couple floats there, and then we're gonna control our UI element, our health UI, through that script. So now that we got our players' health working and our enemies' shooting working, I think I'm just gonna call that the end of this video. And as always, I really appreciate you guys sticking this out with me. If you liked it, make sure to like and subscribe.